Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have no agenda updates, and with that, I will ask Clerk Gummow to please call the roll, please.
Thank you. Mr. Fellers?
Present.
Mr. Fiducia?
Here.
Mr. Gurl?
Present.
Mrs. Gorl?
Present.
Mr. Hoffman?
Present.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. McDonald?
Present.
Mr. Neighbors?
Here.
Mrs. Red? Mr. Salgado?
Present.
Mr. Schultz?
Here.
Mr. Tassoni?
Present.
Mr. Webster?
Here.
Mr. Westcott?
Present.
Mr. Arena?
Here.
Mr. Billick?
Here.
Mr. Booker?
Present.
Mr. Boomer?
Here.
Mr. Butita?
Here.
Mrs. Crosby?
Here.
20 present, no absent, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Clerk Gummow. And with that, I will ask everybody to stand. I'll turn things over to Mrs. Crosby for the prayer and pledge. Mrs. Crosby.
Heavenly Father, you have asked us to acknowledge you in all of our ways, and that you will direct our path. In Romans 12, you have encouraged us to be not conformed with this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds, that we may prove that perfect and acceptable will that you have provided us. In Matthew 23, you give us the two great commandments: to love you with all our heart, mind, and soul, and to love each other as well. In Philippians 4, you ask us to dwell on honesty, justice, purity, whatever is lovely, and whatever is of good report. Teach us, dear Father, to live to that standard and wear that mantle. In his name we pray. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have Jody Schultz here from River Bluff? Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Jody. Thank you very much for joining us. We have a very special recognition tonight. Jody Schultz from River Bluff is joining us, and I wanted to present her with the Chairman's Service Award, and I'll read it very quickly. I, Frank Haney, Chairman of the Winnebago County Board, do hereby recognize Jody for her outstanding care and compassion shown to the residents of River Bluff Nursing Home, and for being the recipient of the recent Daisy Award. This award exemplifies her passion and spirit of serving others. It is not given because of one single action, but rather ongoing meritorious service. Jody is recognized as an example of the very best values of Winnebago County. Jody's been a 31-year employee at River Bluff, as we said, a recent winner of the Daisy Award. One of the residents that nominated her said, "I call her sunshine because she lights up the room when she walks in. She has a genuine heart and a true love for people. She'll walk with you the first mile, and she'll walk 5 or 6 with you to ensure your problems are solved." Our staff also say she is remarkable, loving, and has a heart of gold. Jody, thank you very much for everything you do. She's not going to say any words, but we'll take one quick picture here.
Sorry. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very nice to see you. Jody, thank you very much again for everything you do. Oh, Mrs. Grohl.
Thank you, Chairman. The DZ award sounds kind of silly, but it happens to be an international award. And Jody is an example of what we have for help out at Riverbug. That staff that's there, and you can see she's been there 31 years, is an awesome staff that you just can't beat. They're wonderful. She was also voted in not only by residents but by her peers out there. So there were about 10 others too that received awards last Thursday. I'm so proud of all of them. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grohl. Before we have public comment, and since we have 4 new board members, just a quick review of our board rules we adopted just a week ago. We'll have one person have the floor at a time. When we call on you, you have the floor. The rest of us will give you our full attention. I'll give you the floor, thank the chairman for giving you the floor, and then at the end, I thank you very much for your comments. And we'll just have one person at a time. If you sidebar, just make sure it's not audible to anybody else, if that's okay, so we keep the focus on the person of the moment there. So thank you for working with me to follow our rules. With that, we will move on to public comment. Our first speaker is Anita Rummage from Circles of Learning, and she is here with a thank you, I believe. And I'll read our disclaimer. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may not address a zoning matter which is pending before the ZBA, zoning committee, or county board. Personnel matters or pending or threatened litigation may not be addressed in open session. An individual may speak a maximum of 3 times per calendar year on the same topic. This prohibition shall include the repetition of the same topic in a statement on what is purported to be a different topic. Personal attacks or inappropriate language of any sort will not be tolerated. With that, I will turn things over to Anita, and you have 3 minutes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Anita Rummage, and I'm the Executive Director at Circles of Learning. With me this evening is Abby Hoskins. She is the Site Director at Circles of Learning. We're excited to share our gratitude with you. 20 years ago, in 1998, I stood before the members of the Winnebago County Board and I requested bond funding in the amount of $2 million to build a facility to relocate our child care center from Orton Keys Housing Development to our current location just off of Harrison Avenue. This request was granted, and Orton Keys Daycare Center was awarded $2 million in adjustable rate revenue bonds. Although many of you were probably not at that meeting, I want to express my sincere thanks for Winnebago County's continued support of Circles of Learning throughout the past 20 years. On December 1st, 2018, Circles of Learning made our last bond payment towards a fully paid off bond. We're extremely proud of this accomplishment. When we requested this funding 20 years ago, we served 119 children ages 2 years through 11 years, and we employed 12 staff. Over the years, we have grown to a capacity of 359 children ages 6 weeks old through the end of 5th grade, and now we employ over 60 staff members. Circles of Learning is a proud economic contributor to our community, both as an employer and as a service organization providing child care so parents can work.
Circles of Learning is a nonprofit child care program with the mission to provide high-quality, affordable child care and comprehensive support network so that families can maintain and achieve social and economic independence. At Circles of Learning, we live our mission to keep child care affordable for all families. We charge only tuition. There are no registration fees, no activity fees, and no additional payments required for our services. We are highly diverse in our environment, providing services to families of all cultural backgrounds and economic statuses in our community. Currently, 54% of our population are low income, receiving child care subsidy assistance. 2% of our population are foster care being paid through the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. And the remaining families have achieved economic independence and paying full fee for their child care. Our program, which started in the Orton Keys Housing Development in 1972 to provide child care for low-income families, has grown into the success it is today, partly because of Winnebago County Board taking a chance on us and issuing us the $2 million bond to support our child care facility. Again, we thank you with the hope that we will join us in this pride and excitement of the announcement that as of December 1st, these bonds are paid in full. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anita. Our next speaker from River Bluff, Karen Morris.
Good evening. My name is Karen Morris, and my brother Jeff is a patient in the Eagle unit of River Bluff and has been there for more than 4 years now. He is 63 years old and is a lifelong victim of epilepsy and autism. He has never enjoyed many of the things we all take for granted. His closest relative is me, his older sister by 12 years. You would think I'm his favorite person since I bring his favorite candy, napkins, and TV guide to him, but his security and his happiness lies with the nurses and CNAs and all of the members of the staff at River Bluff who lovingly care for him each day, as well as the comforting and familiar surroundings at River Bluff. Jeff has never been able to have a career, although he's very intelligent. Since age 22, when he transitioned into life-threatening grand mal seizures, he has been disabled and is now an invalid, sometimes unable to speak and only able to use his left hand. He has never been married, he has no children to comfort him or care for him, he has no home, no car, and few pleasures in life. His mainstays are his surroundings at River Bluff and his belief that he is in his forever home. I ask that before you consider making any major decisions about River Bluff, you visit and you put a name with a face. I'm sure you will see how much these residents appreciate River Bluff and the loving care they receive there from all of the staff and the medical personnel, and how much they love their surroundings. Many residents may have forgotten their previous homes because of time and the damage that dementia has done to them, but now they have a home in their rooms, and each room is decorated with some of their most precious belongings, with families who come there and help them rearrange things and bring in new pictures and do all sorts of things to make them feel comfortable. And yet they find that same comfort in the staff, and they find that same comfort in their surroundings. I believe our highest calling is to take care of the elderly and disabled, and that we need to do that very well. So as a family member of River Bluff, I would like to tell you that I remember when I was putting together some notes, I remembered the phrase from the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Well, we did, and they did. And it's up to us to finish the course. The residents there all belong to all of us. I know so many of them now, and I've been at this for 4 years. My brother entered River Bluff.
Okay, Karen, we're at 3 minutes.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very, very
you.
much
Thank
for coming
you.
to see us tonight. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mayor Greg Jury, City of Loves Park. Mayor Jerry.
First, thank you for the opportunity to once again address the board regarding this issue you are reconsidering this evening. On behalf of the City of Loves Park, I'd like to thank those of you that supported our regional economic development effort by approving the use of host fees for infrastructure at the November 20th County Board meeting. I'd also like to thank the 4 new board members for taking time to learn about the regional significance of this investment and the benefits to Winnebago County. And I apologize that this decision is being thrust upon you in this manner at your second board meeting. To be honest with you, I'm disappointed that we have to be here again tonight to repeat this process. Since we have been down this road before and we've provided you with all the information necessary for you to make an educated decision, I will not go into details on this request. However, I would like to ask the board to consider the following questions. Please note that this statement was prepared prior to the comments by the editorial board in today's Register Star. However, they pose some of the same questions. First question, what details of this request have changed since November 20th approval? Does this investment of host fees for infrastructure benefit the economic development of the county, which you represent? Does the reconsideration of the economic development agreements reflect solidarity in bringing new business to our region? How does straining relationships between economic development partners and the appearance of a dysfunctional government benefit our region? Does the division of the county due to political stubbornness benefit your residents or the economy of the region? And finally, ask yourself, what is the real reason that this is being brought back before tonight? We have provided all that information that has been requested of us, such as cost estimates, plans, wage information, job creation, etc. We have done so openly and honestly. We feel that there's been a lack of accountability, collaboration, and transparency by the Office of the County Board Chairman throughout this entire process, which we began on April 9th, 2018. We would hope that the Winnebago County Board would act to reaffirm the vote of the approval on this item as it was originally presented on November 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jerry. Our next speaker is Barry Pay to talk economic impact and safety associated with the Latham Park Gauge. Barry, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Barry Pay. I'm a lifelong resident of Winnebago County, 32-year resident on the Rock River in McChesney Park. This evening I'm here to discuss with you the management of the Fordham Dam and the NOAA gauge located at Latham Road and Ralston Bridge. I would also like to discuss the safety and economic impact it has on the community as a whole. Currently, the action stage at the Latham Park gauge is 9 feet. An action stage is supposed to represent when a community is in action preparing for higher water. Realistically, though, the river spills over the banks in the lowest developed areas of the county at approximately 6.8 feet of water at the Latham Park gauge. The current action stage of 9 feet is very unrealistic. The river is already threatening homes and causing water issues at homes and properties at the 9 feet level that it is currently at. Fortunately, though, the NOAA is recalibrating the gauges on the Rock River. I'm here to ask you board members in your official capacity to contact the NOAA hydrologist, Scott Lincoln, and request a safer action stage of 6.5 to 7 feet for us at the Latham Park gauge. This will better serve our community as a whole. There are 2 professionals in water management that agree that the Fordham Dam has a direct effect on water levels in the area of the Latham Park gauge. They are Scott Lincoln at NOAA, the National Weather Service, and Paul Maurer at the Illinois State Dam Safety Engineer. This year in 2018, the river gave us one of the worst floods we've had in a decade. And yes, Mother Nature is partially to blame. But before the rains came this August, the dam had been closed. It had been closed to raise the river level in downtown Rockford. The downtown area from about Auburn Street south to the dam. At the same time that the dam was closed to raise the water in that pool, it also raised the water at the Latham Park gauge to over 7 feet. At 7 feet of water, the water is over the banks. It's approaching people's homes, it's seeping into their basements and impacting their livelihood. The record rainfalls came about a week after, in August, and we were already starting to flood because the dam had been closed. Now, as our water is receding from this flood, the gauge at 9 feet, the action stage at 9 feet, the dam was closed once it got below that 9 feet of water to raise the pool of water in downtown Rockford. At the same time, water was still over the banks, threatening people's homes.
Thank you, Barry. We're at 3 minutes, sir. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Alan Dallmeyer to talk about flooding at the Rock River. Sorry. Alan, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you to the Winnebago County Board. Barry has said most of everything I want to say, but I have a couple of points. A lot of people, we forget the past. Do you remember the year 2008? Okay, it was just 10 years ago. What happened in 2008? The Rock River was completely closed for the entire season. The sports core was closed for the entire season, okay? We lost one of the biggest soccer tournaments in the world, called the Puma tournament, okay? I'm not sure if we have that back. This year, because of the river being closed, we lost 2 spectacular events. The ski broncs didn't have the show, and the regatta. Now, I don't know about you folks, but I love going to the regatta, getting a fancy cup of coffee, putting on some nice clothes, and going down and seeing Harvard, Notre Dame with their big Winnebagos, okay? It's a great, we lost that. How many more times are we gonna let the river flood before we lose those things? Now, a couple of points. 2 weeks ago, I talked to a USGS gentleman with his green vest. I asked him why the river, what I've been told for 36 years that I've lived on the river, this being the dam, it backs up like this. So at the Rockford newspaper, it goes up a 1/4 inch. My house is 6 miles north of the dam. It goes up 8 feet. I'm 6 feet 2 inches, okay? This is 8 feet. That's how high it goes, okay? He said that's not true. The water goes up because there's an island right south of Latham Bridge that goes real small, about this big, okay? It's 200 feet down to 100. It snakes around the back pressure, that's what causes it, okay? In 2008, I found out that there's $1 million a year appropriated for dredging. 36 years ago, $36 million. We've never seen any dredging, okay? I called in the chain of lakes just 2 days ago. I talked to the gentleman that's in charge of the dams, okay? He opens and closes the dam. Why can't they lower the river in December, January, February or something, 2 feet to give us a buffer zone, okay? So if the river goes up in the spring 2 foot, we're at 0, okay? I asked him, and this is how it's done. He gets a hold of DNR, he gets a hold of the Weather Bureau, and then the hydrologists. They tell him what they're going to predict the river height to be. They lower the river. We don't lower the river, okay? What I'm asking is in a couple weeks, McChesney Park has a major decision that could create money out of the Sheriff's Department, out of your funds to control the flooding. We don't try anything. So if McChesney Park goes ahead with 9 feet rather than 7, we could be in the same problem, okay? So what I'm asking is somebody to think about some ideas that we can do to help not stop it, because the weatherman is going to. 2016, if you remember, my daughter got married. That's the only time in 8 years, 10 years, that the river didn't flood. Thank you for your time and patience, and thank you for the board and everything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dallmeyer. Yes, Mr. McDonald?
Do we have any other speakers regarding the rivers night?
No, sir.
The dam is controlled.
That is our last speaker of the evening. Follow up, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I met with the Sheriff's Department today for about 2 hours. Mr. Lincoln from the National Weather Service was in attendance. We are working on this already. The Sheriff's Department is taking it very seriously. I just want to make sure that my fellow board members know that this isn't falling on deaf ears. I live on the river. I'm sympathetic to their concerns. I've seen them firsthand as well. We are working on this problem, and we'll have probably early summer, we'll see something.
And updates to follow. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. Next item of business, approval of minutes. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes from November 8th, 2018, and to lay over the minutes from November 20th and December 3rd of 2018. I got a motion by Mr. Fellers, and I have a second by Mr. Booker. Minutes are now before the board. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item of business, announcements and communications. I'll turn things over to Clerk Gummow.
The items listed below were received as correspondence.
And we will place those on file. Thank you very much, Clerk Gummow. Next item of business, board member correspondence. Mrs. Gorel.
Thank you, Chairman. As long as LC isn't here tonight, then I'll have to say something. Way back there, is he?
He's here, but he doesn't have a microphone.
Okay. Anyway, this is in regards to River Bluff Nursing Home. The employees here, right here at our own main office, and people from River Bluff, have asked us to join in caroling for the residents for River Bluff Nursing Home. It's going to be held Wednesday, December 19th at 5:30. Wear your most ugly sweater, hat, attire for Christmas, and the more the merrier. Bring the family on out too. This is also a good time for those of you who have never been to River Bluff on our board to go out and take a look and see the fun they're going to have that evening and partake in the caroling for the residents out at River Bluff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Gorel. Any other board member comments? Seeing none, I'll move on to the chairman's report, and I do have a couple quick items.